Welcome guys to our weekly group call for the 19th of January. Hope you've all had a fantastic weekend. As you can see, I haven't quite sorted out my backdrop yet. I either had the choice of spending an hour figuring out how to do this green screen and the background, or work on the tool. So I chose to work on the tool. So hopefully one of you guys who understand this vMix software can maybe give me some assistance with the green screen and putting some sort of an image on the background. And we'll get to that. Okay, cool. So we're going to be covering, oh goodness gracious me, come back here. So we're going to get back onto this. Okay, so today's schedule, we're going to be covering our group results. So thank you to the guys who shared results over the week. There weren't too many results shared as we were, there wasn't too much trading going on last week. I know a lot of guys were waiting for the automated side to really kick in. But, you know, I did speak to a few guys over the course of last week, and they were saying how they were working with the Modena strategy and with the different signal charts. So, you know, that's always encouraging to see that. We are going to cover the updates to the signal chart. So this is the take it and run signal chart. This was the chart I was just playing a few minutes before the call started. So that we're going to cover. And then we're also going to look more at the Modena Wick Trader strategy, pick up where we left off last week, cover a little bit about that. And then we're also going to look at the game plan for the week ahead. So this is the first week we're going to start running the automated strategies again, which, you know, may not pan out to be the absolute best week, since that it's the inauguration, you know, tomorrow, as well as, you know, public holiday. So, you know, there's a few things happening over this week, so we might just have to be conservative with our automated strategies. But then I also have chosen some conservative templates for the baseline Wick Trader strategy. Okay, so I'll share back my screen. If I can find it on my thing. There we go. Okay, so you'll notice we've had some really good signals from the signal chart so far. The show me the money has given us incredible valuable signals. So, you know, I always say how powerful these Fibonacci levels are. And we could even see back on, you know, Friday, we had a bounce off the 50 and the 38. That's the 4 hour and the hourly. You know, when I say 4 hour hourly, it's basically a combination of days. So, you know, the 4 hours will be the last month's worth of trading, and the hourly will be the last week's worth of trading, and then it basically increments up until monthly Fibonacci's, where it's evaluating the last 12 months of price movement. So these levels are extremely powerful, and you know, those who are not trading using the DTB system are actually at a serious disadvantage, because they do not know where the institutional support and resistance levels are. And, you know, these come up and are almost to the tick, you know, accurate as regards to where price turns around, you know, and eventually where price breaks through. Like as an example, we had, you know, on Friday where the price went and bounced off it, came up the start of the session, basically at 6 p.m. we had our colored bar turnaround. On our shadow trading, we had the price break right through that 50 and 38 that had failed before, but then it came back and retested it, came back down, no resistance up until the 38.2, which is falling onto the monthly Fibonacci. So that is a huge level. That's basically the 38.2 retracement level over the last 12 months. So, you know, they are powerful levels that are being drawn on your charts without you having to go and manually plot. So an absolutely invaluable tool. And obviously we've had our breakout markers being left behind. So, you know, there's quite a bit happening on the chart. You know, we can choose how much to have on the chart too. You know, some people like to have the take it and run and just relying on the wave that we have over here. The jawline, the breakout markers, also extremely powerful signals on there. Okay, so let me see, what should I cover first? Okay, so I think we will cover the take it and run. All right, perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring up a new workspace. So I'm going to go to my workspace. And as usual, guys, if you want to ask anything, just ask in the group calls chat on Discord, and we can go through that. So I'm just going to go to a new workspace, an untitled workspace, and I'm going to load up the two indicators that we've updated. So if you go to your indicator list, you will scroll down and you will see that there is trend following. So we've got two trend following indicators, and the one is the DTB bars. So whichever bar size you're attaching it to, like there's a 2020, you will put the 2020 in there. So that basically applies the fan and the dots and the jawline, everything exactly according to the 2020 bars. So that's what that looks like on the trading chart. Okay, now if I just duplicate this in a new tab and I go to my indicator settings, and instead of using the DTB bars one, I'm actually going to use the range bars. So the range bars, this one here, it's exactly what it says. It's using range bars instead of DTB bars. So this sensitivity that you're looking at here, that is according to the size of a range bar. So this is a 40 range bar that this is basically applying it to. So if we apply a 40 there as an example, we'll get that to calculate. You'll see that that plots differently. So it's plotting a much larger time frame over the DTB bars. So we're looking at a range of price. So as we know, price travels in ranges. It doesn't really travel in time. That's why we work with DTB bars and we work with, non-time based bars. And the benefit of this is you can actually apply a much larger time frame on here. So, some people even choose like a 50 over here. I think our take it and run chart template uses a 50 as the range bars. And, that just provides a much larger time frame to look at. And then you can also be trading off these jaw lines. So, as price comes down, it fails to break through, breaks below the jaw line. Those are also really powerful entries to take. So it's just another way of looking at that different trend. So, and then being able to trade bounce offs. In fact, there's a very powerful document that has been prepared for for that signal chart that's using this indicator. So, that's the different way of looking at it. We've got, we've got the two different ways. So you're able to apply, different data series with those two indicators. So just displaying price slightly differently. And obviously, every time you change, the data series on this chart. So say, for example, I make this a 10 and a 10 as an example, you will notice that the indicator on this chart will start plotting a bit differently, and it will only show you the dots. Okay, so that it's designed that way just to give you, to show you where that, where those, that changeover is. So the changeover from long to short. But if you wanted to jump onto the indicator, just make sure that you change the indicator to a 10 and a 10. And then that will actually show you the wave accompanying those dots. Whereas if you go to the one that says the range, like this one over here, you can go and change the data series to any data series that you want without having to go and update, the settings inside the indicator, because it's still going to apply that overall range to that size bar. So you can see that's only a 10-10 bar, and it's giving you an overall range. And then, you're able to see where the price is in relation to that range and that jawline. So I thought that was just a, after having a chat to Paul, who's the one that came up with the signal chart, he, basically gave, he gave me some, feedback on this chart. So that's why I've reintroduced this indicator back in, because, it's vital to the actual document that he's been planned, that he worked on. So everybody using the DTB system, if you go into your documents folder, NinjaTrader 8, you'll see over here you've got DTB traders and you've got start here. And in the start here folder, you've actually got a document specifically here that covers the take it and run signal chart. So what he's basically done is he has created a full-on document. He's created a full-on document on how to actually trade that specific chart. So that chart that we had just before we started on the call was, showing you, these are the indicators on there. So there's the trend following with the 50, and he's saying, how to manually trade it. And on this document, it also explains, what the different indicators do. Let me just see if it's at the bottom or still at the top. Okay, so I just want to see where the specific mention was regarding the jawline. Okay, perfect. Okay, so it goes on and speaks about the jawline. It speaks about the fan line, which is those different moving averages, and also the jawline. So these are basically covered in this document very well, and it just explains to you how how this chart should be traded. And I mean, he's been trading this chart for years now. And, he only trades this. He doesn't trade anything else. He trades the take it and run signal chart, because he meticulously put together this document that explains exactly how it's being used. And he trades the Modena Wick Trader with this take it and run template. So, all of these documents are here, and including the one for show me the money. So the show me the money signal chart is also the one we start off on every call. And, I've also documented very nicely here of how to actually trade it. So these documents and, these resources are all available to you guys as DTB members. So, you're not jumping into a system that, you haven't got support, you haven't got documentation. You've got a lot of stuff here that is available right away as soon as you get started, that you can jump into to become acquainted with the DTB system. And if I just switch back here very quickly to the workspace, to the indicator sample, you will see there's the take it and run. So the exact document that I just displayed earlier explains how to trade this document. Okay, so how do you read the waves? I got a question on Discord. How do we read the waves on the trend following? So it's not a very intuitive, it's not a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Complicated indicator. So we're basically looking at the moving averages of the 50 range, or the moving averages of the 20 bars. So if we go into the indicator settings, you will see over here, if I go to the trend following, this one here doesn't specifically say the values that are being used. I think I might just jump into the DTB bars one, because I know I did a little bit more work in there, but it applies the same way to this. So we've got different waves that are calculated. Okay, so these only relate to the opacity of the actual waves on the chart. So, basically the way to read it is the different moving averages of a specific data series that you load up. And you'll see how well it actually, is used as support and resistance for price. It is used for, bounce backs or bounce offs and pullbacks. of price, and also breaking through. But ultimately, if the trend is still up, you're still going to have that white cloud continue. And if it does change over slightly like it did over there to blue, the bars will color blue. And I know you can't see it very clearly here, but you've actually got white bars and you've got blue bars to match the indicator. And this indicator that we've got on here is actually the EMA indicator. So the signal chart taken and run, when you combine the trend following with the EMA indicator, which is also a whole lot of moving averages over a certain period, because we've got different periods over there, that actually colors the bars. So, that's why we've got, a few tools on this chart that are complementing each other. And then we also have our smoothing average, which is often used as like your stop, your stop loss. So if you're in long positions, on a changeover, you would often use your smoothing average as your stop loss, and also bounce off that. So every time you have a bounce off a smoothing average, back up again, or the price trades above a jawline, you've got the opportunity to enter trades. And even if you're just chasing 1 or 2 bars, I mean, you don't have to have 10 bars of profit. You can chase 1 or 2 bars. So this chart definitely gives you the opportunity to be able to do that, because we're having the price enter and exit this wave as well as the jawline. So basically any time that you open up a chart, you'll be able to see signals. Like just a few seconds ago, we had a breakout marker left behind over there. So this happens in real time, tick by tick. So this is the indicator that's leaving these breakout volume markers is calculating tick by tick. And that's where it produced the signal, the bar closed, you can chase your target. But then you're also between the wave and the jawline. So, depending on how early you want to get onto entries, or do you want to wait for confirmations? Do you want to wait for, because obviously this breakout market is a resistance level. So, this all depends on how many ticks you're trying to target on your entries. So a lot of people, like I said, they might enter 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 contracts and target 1 bar. I mean, that's a decent result, because you know where to put your stops to, because you got your breakout markers in place, you got your waves, you got your, your smoothing average. So, it makes these charts extremely powerful. And, that's the benefit of having a system of tools, is because you haven't got individual bits and pieces. You've actually got a whole lot of tools that have been designed to work together all on one chart, that have been extremely well documented, that have been tried and tested over long periods of time and are updated accordingly. So, it's an absolute no-brainer to be using a system like this. And, like I said, if you haven't got the DTB system, you kind of are flying blind. A lot of people, are really going to get extreme benefits out of this, because you have a proper system of tools. Okay, so that's regarding the update for the taken and run signal chart. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at, and we'll try to keep this call as short as possible today. I know last week we carried on for a bit long, but we're going to look at the Modena Wick Trader strategy, and I'm just going to cover a little bit about it, because we're going to be focusing more on the the game plan for the week ahead, because that's going to be the strategies that we're going to be trading. So if I switch back to here and I just go to my control center and I go to, I just want to close this workspace. Don't want to save it. And I just want to close this workspace too. Don't want to save that. I'm going to go to the Modena Wick Trader workspace. So you guys have been given this workspace too. It's on your chart. So last week we covered a lot about the basic settings of the Modena Wick Trader strategy. So that was covered. We do see a bit of bouncing around of the chart, and that's because these lines are trying to constantly plot on the chart. You see this, the red line, it's making sure. So I haven't quite figured out, I haven't really gone into the coding to, sort that out. So in the meantime, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to remove this flat baseline indicator, because, we can still read the baseline pretty effectively, using, just looking, because you can quickly see where the baseline is. I mean, you can see that here is a wick. Here's a baseline break. And you can see right over here, that's our current baseline. Okay, so, we have a good visual representation of where price is, according to where the baseline is. So if I quickly go and remove that, we obviously do have a tick distance marker that we can cover. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just remove the indicator that it's attached to the chart. So I'm going to just go, I'm going to remove the trend following. I'll even remove the breakout volume actually. So what this is going to do is it's just going to give us the two data series in one. So there's our flat baseline chart with the price action between the wicks. And we covered this in detail on last week's call. So if you want to look back at that, and I have also timestamped that video so you can specifically go to, that part of it. Now, I'm going to cover just one of the signal charts inside this Modena Wick Trader strategy, because they all kind of work similar. So if we look at one, you'll be able to, work with the others. So if we go to our Modena Wick Trader strategy, now we do have to be very careful and slow with NinjaTrader when working with the strategy, because it is quite a powerful strategy. It's got a lot of features on it. So we don't want to be clicking fast, or, we want NinjaTrader to be able to try and cope with, with the amount of things that it has to deal with over here. So just be very slow with your clicks and everything. So we're not going to cover, obviously, we covered the version, we covered, the money management last week, we covered all of that, the retracement, the stop loss, the targets. We did cover all of this last week, so I'm going to close all of that. Okay, so this is where it comes to the signal charts, and I think this is exactly where we stopped regarding the Modena Wick Trader last week. So one of our first signal charts that we have built into the strategy is called the Signal Chart Combo 4. And it's the shadow trading one. So we have the option here to use the Signal Chart Combo 4 shadow trading divergence. So this can either be clicked over here, or it can be clicked on the button inside on the chart. But I'm going to just activate it here for now, just so you know, that you can activate it in advance without waiting for the chart to load. Okay, so the shadow trading indicator, as you know, it's the one with the arrows, or the one with the divergences and all that. So that's the one, is one of the tools that's built into this chart. And you're able to also use minute bars as the signal chart. So if you tick this box, then, it's using minute bars, and then it will use like this 5 minute, because you can choose whatever minute bars you want to use. If you do not leave this, if you do not check this box, it's going to use the DTB bars, which is the 2020. So we've got a 2020 on this data series, so that's a good thing to actually keep. And then we have a break at end of day. So if you select that on the normal chart, then you need to select it inside here too. And this is where the settings for that very specific indicator come into play. So the indicator is going to have a range of where price is going to be entering trades. So we'll put some values in here, but then we'll also look at what those values look like on the chart. So for example, I'm going to put here 2. So it will start at 2 and it will end at 5. And we'll go -2, -5. And, we'll explain these values in a moment. And also the top value and the bottom value is where trades would exit. So it's basically identifying a range of price within the indicator that the strategy is allowed to trade within. Okay, so once I activate that, so just keep a mental note of that. We activated the signal chart combo 4 on a 2020 bars, and those are the settings. Now, I said keep a mental note, but that's not really necessary, because as we activate the strategy, it's going to tell us on the top right of the chart what we have actually used as a filter within the strategy. So as the strategy is calculating, you'll see over there. So it says on the top right, well, first of all, on our button over here, it says signal chart combo 4 DTB. So it knows that we're using the signal chart combo 4. DTB means DTB bars. But on the right, it also says, hey guys, we're using the signal chart combo 4 DTB bars 2020. We've got the settings as 10, 5, 2, -2, -5, -10, and it's going to exit at, -10, and the SI indicator is off. So SI indicator is just another one I've built into the chart. So, what does that actually look like? So if we go into the indicator settings, so there's a few ways that you can do this. So one of the simple ways is you can just load up a new chart. So you can click on here like this, or even on a separate window, it also helps. This is, you don't have to do this, but this is to see what the indicator is telling us. So what we're going to do over here is we're going to load the MNQ chart on a 2020. We didn't have break at end of day checked. We can add 1 day here, that's fine. Okay, so we're going to add that chart. And then we are going to replicate the settings of that. But instead of replicating the settings, we can just go to templates, load, and you'll see signal chart combo 4 in this list. You see, that's why we've got quite a few of these signal charts in here, is because these are linked to the strategy. So if you want to load the signal chart combo 4 DTB, you can actually load it there, and it will tell you at the bottom, hey, that's the signal chart combo 4 DTB, that's the chart. But now you'll notice that it says here, DTB shadow trading divergence 10, 8, 6, 6, 8, -10. So those were not the same settings that we had inside the strategy. These were settings that I had used before. So whatever settings you put within the strategy, which you can easily find because it tells you over there, it's basically telling you 10, 5, 2, 2, 5, 10. So we're going to the signal chart over here, and we're going to go into the indicator settings, and we're just going to adjust those values to display the same. So this one was 5, this one was 2, this one was 2, and 5, and 10. Okay, so if I do OK, all right. So what this is going to tell us is that, it's going to paint the bars cyan and magenta. So if I go slightly more days on this, we will see, let's just go 3 days on this chart. So what this means is that when the strategy starts trading, so if the strategy starts trading now, say when you press the start button, the strategy is going to be, it's going to be doing the normal retracement levels and all that, but it's only going to enter long positions when there are cyan bars, and it's only going to enter short positions when the bars are magenta. So that is what this filter does. So, some of you guys might have this filter running as determining when to enter positions. And, you might come up with different settings. I mean, you might want to trade the extremities of the price. So for example, you might want to trade, only enter short positions when it's plus 6 to plus 8. And then obviously these magenta lines, these bars will plot differently. So if I go into the indicator settings, for example, you can say, I want to go 8 and I want to go 6. And And I want to go 6, because this is in reverse now, right? Above and below the baseline. So then what this will do is it will only enter, you see the trades will only enter now based on the new settings that we've put in. So, short trades when the bars are magenta, long trades when they are cyan. Short magenta, long trades cyan. So that's when it's going to be entering positions based on what you have got, on the retracements. Now, obviously, if you're changing any of those settings, then you've got to come into the strategy and adjust them here too. But we'll leave them exactly how they were, and this is only for a visual representation of what the strategy is doing behind the scenes. So you don't really have to, see this on a chart. But this is just telling you when the strategy is expected to enter positions, while it's on the wick. So while it's trading on this wick, if the indicator signal chart says, okay, now this is the time to activate for long positions, then the strategy will start trading long. And it's the same for short positions. And the strategy will only enter long positions when it's below the baseline, and will only enter short positions when the price is above the baseline. So, that's on this specific chart. Now, some of you might decide, I don't need to see a separate signal chart, but I would still like to see what the indicator looks like on my main trading chart. So then what you can do is you can go into your indicator settings on your specific trading chart. And because we already have a DTB bars 2020 on this chart as the additional data series, we can just go and load up that shadow trading divergence indicator. And in here, we can go put those same settings. So, if you're not familiar, or if you don't remember the settings, you just have to look over here. So it's a 2020, which you've got as your second data series, and this is going to be a 10, this is going to be a 5, this is going to be a 2, and this is 2, 5, and 10. And then if you want to save this, template save, there's a way of saving it here. I think I've got single chart combo 4. So I've got that there, but I think that relates to the default settings of the strategy. So you can actually do that. You can save it. Now, I made a mistake there because I added the indicator to the incorrect data series. So you see I added the indicator in there. I did put in the correct settings, but down on here, I need to make sure that the input series is actually linked to the 2020 bar. And I click on apply and OK. And then I think we need to go to the indicator settings again. And we don't have any paint bars. So a good thing to pop on there is the paint bars, because obviously we would like to see the coloring of that, right? Okay, so now that is going to paint the coloring of the bars on your very specific trading chart. So now we know, when it's going to trade. So as an example, the strategy would have traded just over here on this larger wick, but based on the retracement of the settings within the strategy. So whatever strategy settings we got in here as how far the price has to retrace before it enters a position, how much must the target ticks be, how much must the stop ticks be, all of that, if the trades must be spaced out, the maximum distance. So all of these are basically adjustable. And you can see that, according to the size chart that we're working on, we want our maximum distance to be a bit higher. So like a 330, 333 on a 369, that's going to give us, the range of where the strategy must enter positions. So that's the one signal chart. So if you just leave it like this, it will take positions, based on that. But, this still is not like a set and forget approach. It's still a good idea to look at your overall trend signal charts and say, what, I only want the strategy to enter long positions. Or, I only want the strategy to enter short positions. So, that way, you can still work according to an overall trend and then have the strategy actually, functioning that way. So that's the one. And as you notice now, I'm going to click this button again, and you'll see that it's gone to signal chart combo 4 minute. Now you'll see, there we go. It's now adjusted to minute bars. So exactly the same as we did on the 2020 bars, it's now working on a 5-minute bar instead with those same settings. So whatever settings you put in the strategy, that's now going to work on a 5-minute bars. Now you can obviously go into your strategy and you can select 15-minute bars, 30-minute bars, whatever you want to use, but the indicator is working off that. Now clicking on the button again, we got signal chart combo 10. Now signal chart combo 10 is using the signal chart combo 10. So as an example, if I click on this and I go to my data series, and I said I was going to show you one, but I'll just show you one more. So this says over there, okay, signal chart combo 10, we've got a 40 DTB bars 1. And that's just the settings that are in the strategy. Obviously, you can go in and adjust whatever size you want in there. As a 3 like this. So we've got that data series, and we're going to activate the signal chart combo 10. So going to the templates, load, signal chart combo 10. There's only one of them. That's our signal chart combo 10 DTB. Okay, so we're going to go load that. Okay, so now that is now going to give us, the strategy will only enter positions. It'll only enter short positions if we've got a blue line, and it'll only enter long positions if there's a white line. Obviously, the longest line is the one that's currently in play. So like right now, that's what the strategy will do. So we've got these signal charts built in, and the awesome thing about it is they can just be activated with a click of a button. So if I click on it again, there's the minute, signal chart combo 10 minute. And now it's using a 15-minute bar because that is what the strategy is in there as default. I mean, again, you can change it to a 5-minute, 1 minute, whatever, but it's giving you the option to choose different signal charts on here. But then still, it's a very, very good idea to say, what, I only want to enter certain directional trades because of an overall trend. So, that's what some people are doing with the signal charts. And the good thing is they're all labeled over there. And I'm doing extensive work behind the scenes to increase the power of these signal charts, to make them more, make them more robust. So as an example, if I go to my MNQ 2020 like this, one of the huge projects that I'm working on at the moment is to make this take it and run template, okay, as you are seeing it over here on this chart, as one of the chart templates that you select inside the strategy, that it'll only trade according to this. Like as an example, it will only take short trades when the wave is blue, and it will only take short trades if the price is, there's a few different, things that I need to code in of specific entry criteria so that the strategy is basically acting on what is happening on a signal chart, trading on whatever you are trading over here. So that's what I'm going to cover with this. This has given you a bit of, insight into the Modena and how extremely powerful it is. Obviously, you still have the option over here to use the strategy. If you click on this, it'll keep cycling through all the different signal charts, and it'll just cycle through them all. So all of these, like I said, are preloaded within the strategy. You don't necessarily have to see the signal chart. but they preloaded in. And obviously, if you've got signal chart off, that means there are absolutely no signal charts in play, and the strategy is only going to enter on the price retracements. And then obviously doing that, you don't even need to have, the data series, because you've got, the price is only trading on the retracements back and away from the baseline. So, as we know, the price forms these wicks, and, if you activate the strategy on a long wick and, let it trade all the way back to the baseline, that's the absolute power of what this thing can accomplish, because, we're constantly going to have all these wicks. And, by looking at signal charts, you can say, if you say, for example, you're on a wick like this, on a long wick, and you can see a baseline is going to break, you say, you know what, I'm not prepared to take short positions at this stage. So you know what, I'm just going to press the pause button, because I just want to wait until a baseline breaks, or I want to see what the signal chart is telling me. And by doing that, the strategy will not take any positions until you say, you know what, I want to start trading again. I'm going to press the start button, and it goes green, and you can start trading. So like I said on previous calls, we want to become professional strategy managers, because, sitting there going and entering manual trades and looking at one bar, it's like, it can be very, 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 draining. Whereas if you're looking at an overall picture of what price is doing, what the trend is, you're able to focus on that overall picture instead of entering manual trades, worrying about where your stops are, where your targets are, and focusing on that. Because I can tell you, for most of you that enter positions, especially those guys, playing around on 5-minute bars, the moment they enter a position on a 5-minute bar, they are staring at that bar and that bar only. It's like their whole world is on that one bar, and they don't see anything else. And the only thing they see is they stop on their target, and it's like hope and pray it hits the target. Whereas if you become a professional strategy manager, you get to see an overall picture. You get to be selective of your direction bias that you trade, and all that. I mean, and even if people, want to trade the strategy, on a, say even a 15-minute, I'm just putting a minute bar. So even if you want to trade the strategy on a 15-minute bar, first of all, it's going to take trades very, very, very differently to every single person else that enters trades on minute bars. So as an example, if somebody's entering long trades, this strategy is going to enter short trades. It's basically doing the opposite to what most people would think should happen, because this is a retracement strategy. So the price has to go up. I mean, obviously, if you're entering short trades on these up bars, you're going to be stopped out. But the Modena Wick Trader strategy is specifically designed for sideways price movement. So we're often going to have sideways price movement. There's very seldom it's going to be a trend in one direction. I mean, the market only trends about 20% of the time. The rest of the time, it's kind of just in like a sideways movement. This strategy absolutely, absolutely excels when it comes to entering, positions on a sideways market. And the same thing goes over here. If you are seeing an overall trend, you can say, you know what, I only want the strategy to enter short positions, because we're currently in a short trend based on our signal charts that we're looking at. So we can say, you know what, I'm not prepared to take long trades, because why the hell would I take long trades now, especially since every single thing is telling me, hey, there's a very slim chance that this is going to break through. We're currently seeing a downtrend. So whatever bar you decide to trade on, understand that, you're able to beautifully control the strategy, and, start without using the signal charts, because, that's a good way to use the strategy. So, that's, for example, what Paul does. He will look at the taken and run chart, and he will look at this chart and he will say, okay, I'm only going to enter short positions. He's going to have he can adjust your stops and targets. So again, in real time, you can adjust your stops and targets. So if you think, okay, well, the range is very narrow now, I'm happy to chase a 21 tick target on my next entry. Okay, yes, that's great. You know what? The range is pretty narrow. So instead of having a 200 stop, I'm going to have an 80 stop. So every single trade that enters right now is going to enter with that stop and target. You don't have to go manually. You don't have to go manually here and go say, let me choose an ATM. Let me select different ATMs. It's like, no, you can adjust this in real time on the strategy chart. I mean, nobody else can do this, by the way. It's only DTB traders. And then you can say, you know what, we want to chase different retracement levels. So it's all by looking at signal charts like this that help us identify, what the price is more likely to do next. Because at the end of the day, it's all a game of probabilities, right? It's a numbers probabilities game. If anybody reads some of these, I think I got that from Mark Douglas's one of his books, probabilities trading or something like that. But we're basically trading a numbers probability game. That's what trading is. So if you can put the numbers and probabilities in your favor by having a powerful signal chart like this, instead of stuffing around with bits and pieces, you are at a major advantage. And then, running a strategy where you're not having to manually enter positions, which is extremely consuming, mind draining and consuming, have a strategy, enter them for you. You can still pause trades whenever you want. You can still choose your direction. You can have so many different things. You can choose how many entries you want. So if you only want to have 5 entries, or what, if you can choose how many entries you want the strategy to enter maximum, and all of that is controlled over here. So, we've got, I cannot stress the importance and the absolute power of shifting your focus from being, manual trader to having an automated strategy enter your trades. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still like you are manually trading, but you're not actually there on the ground, busy entering trades, putting your individual stops and targets and stressing about all those things. You are seeing a much bigger picture, and you're able to look at a few different things in unison and then have the strategy automatically trade for you based on your overall perception of trend and what the signal charts are giving you. So, that's what I would love you guys to do. And, if you want to start on a 15-minute chart or 5-minute chart, that's fine. That is fine. I mean, obviously you haven't got all your baselines properly, but, the benefit of having a minute bar is every single new chart, every single new bar is a baseline. So the price is resetting on every single bar. So when a new bar starts, it's going to say, okay, well, the price must first go 34 ticks before it enters its first trade, or it must trade within 10 and, a certain range. I mean, you might say, I only want to enter trades between 10 and 100 ticks on each candle. And you know what? Delaying 34 ticks might be, a bit much. So, I'm happy to make the delay the same or very close to the minimum distance. So, the strategy right now is going to be looking at entering short trades only, because we selected short only, and the price has to retrace 10 ticks for it to enter a position. So we're basically looking for pullbacks. So as the price is trending in a certain direction, often we get pullbacks like we got over here. So we got a pullback. We got multiple pullbacks. Like there's a pullback over there. Activate the strategy at the top of that pullback. And then as the price retraces, it's going to enter a short position. We've got multiple times where we've got pullbacks into support areas, and you can say, okay, well, now I'm happy to activate the strategy, but hey, I only want to go short. So, this combines manual trading with automated. It's probably one of the first steps somebody can take. People that struggle with manual trading, and if you seriously look at your trading habits, and you look at your manual trading habits, you will know immediately that as soon as you enter a trade, you're looking at that one bar that the trade is on, and you're forgetting about everything else, because you're like, it's like pull the trigger, it's like ready, fire, aim. It's like, shit, what the hell now? You know, like you're hoping for the best. So become a professional strategy manager, and it will take your trading to a completely different level. And it's a beautiful feeling. It's a beautiful feeling. All right, so that's the Modena Wick Trader strategy. And like I said, you know, if you want to have extra filters in the background while you are still choosing direction, that's extra, you know, like filters to stop trading, you know, if the price goes over certain levels within the indicator settings. So that is something I was hoping that the strategy would take one trade while we were watching it, and might just have to reduce the retracement level down a little bit over here. So again, you know, it's how far we don't want to have it right down. So I wouldn't have it more than I wouldn't have it less than 5, especially when you're trading like on the, you know, on the MNQ or NQ. And it does take a while for it just to kick in the value that you're going to select. So, you know, the price has to be a certain distance away from the, you know, it has to be within the range, right? So it has to be within the delay, and it has to be within the minimum distance and maximum distance area. So you'll see and this is working on bid and ask price. So, you know, we really have to be, but, you know, that's what will happen. If this price goes right up, and, you know, it'll start entering trades on the way down. That's what it will do. And it will have those stops and targets in place and acting accordingly. I'll just leave it for another minute and just see if by some chance we have an entry come up. And like I said before in a previous call, this little red dot over here, that's where the stop would be. You see, we've changed our stop ticks to 80. You see, so like wherever you enter your positions, you can immediately see on the chart where the stop would be if this trade had to enter. So right now it's saying, you know, if a trade enters, that's where our stop is going to be. So there's enough information on here to be able to give you an overall picture of, you know, of what's happening, right? Yeah, so I mean, yeah, there we go. So let me just see if I've got the right data series over here, text and marker. I'm on the Sim 101. So yeah, depending on which chart you are trading on. So there we go. So, you know, I just got a message from Greybeard in the chat. He had on the, I'll just bring it over here. So like, for example, he was trading on the chart we looked at earlier, where there's your, you know, your entries based on the retracement, and it's going to be trading up. So you know, that was what he was looking at, right? So, you know, this is what you guys can focus on, and, you know, use this for the US session, for the later session. So like, there's our first entry. So it entered a short position. There's our target. There's our stop. So we're in one position at the moment. Now we do have a space out trade. So currently the trades will be spaced out. If we don't want to space out the trades, we click on the account button, which we covered last week on the call too. So, you know, while this is now, it's in 2 positions, you see, because it's retracing 5 ticks, and, you know, so there we go. So, and then you can even switch to your signal chart. And then you can monitor it. You can say, oh, okay, let me have a look at these trades. Okay, should I still be in short positions? Yeah, okay, the strategy still saying, or the signal chart is still saying, hey, I should be in short positions because that is where the breakout markers are. This is where the volume is. You know, there's only one volume marker here that's kind of serving as a little bit of a support or resistance for the price coming down. But hey, guess what? I'm happy there. And you know what? I'm currently in 3 positions. So I'm just pretending like we're in real time now, right? And, you know, you're trading this live, you know, on your live account. You say, hey, you know, I'm in 3 positions now. You know what? I might just be happy to stay with those 3 positions. I don't want to enter more positions. You know, so I'm going to keep that at 3. Now, like I said, it might take a few seconds to, because it's working on each tick. But, you can say, well, I'm in 3 positions now. I want to wait until these 3 positions exit. And guess what? You know what? I don't want to enter any more trades. So I'm going to press the pause button, okay, over here. And I'm going to wait until these 3 trades exit, based on what's happening here. And, if the price breaks through these volume support levels over here, or even breaks through the smoothing average, hey, as soon as that happens, I'm going to pause the strategy and every single one of those trades will exit. So, this is what I was saying about, entering positions according to what's happening on a signal chart, and then selectively choosing, obviously, your direction, first of all, and then choosing your, your entry bias of where trades can enter, where they must stop if they reach certain levels. So you have that all to play for. Okay, so there we've had our price go up. We're kind of at a volume breakout volume marker now. So that is beautiful, because you know what? I want to enter more positions there because that is where I'm expecting the price to break off. So, I'm going to enter up to 7 positions. And then I'm going to switch back to my signal chart, and you can have this on a separate window, so you don't have to keep switching between, but you could have this on a separate, this chart on a separate window, and that will tell you, then you can look at that, and then you can decide, should I pause? Should I change direction? What am I looking at? What is happening on the signal chart? Because we know that as soon as the price breaks through these volume support levels and breaks up, we're more than likely in for a trend change, and then we just pause the strategy and we wait until we get better signals, or we get more confirmation signals to start trading again. So, this is something that you guys can all do pretty effectively. And, you can start with, just using the Modena Wick Trader strategy on its, with its default settings, or without a signal chart in use, because you're actively managing, what the strategy is actually doing right now. So that's what we're gonna be doing, this week ahead. So outside of the game plan trading hours, and I said I was gonna keep this call short, and it's already been a damn hour. Sorry, guys. But I'm glad we actually covered this, because, this is something I would love you guys to look at. I mean, once you master this strategy and you get comfortable with using the strategy with its different features, and you get used to, starting the strategy, pausing it, choosing your direction bias, have entries in and out the market, looking at the signal charts. I mean, there is nothing more powerful that exists in the whole world of trading than the DTB system and the strategies that we have over here. So, I truly believe that, just becoming really good at managing strategies like this. And, so what if you take a few losses early on and you read the chart slightly wrong? You know what? You've got a much better chance of trading like this than you do of just trying to manually blindsidely enter long and short positions randomly on a chart with random indicators you get from Joe Soap and Mary Blogs and Ninja Con Artist and, all these other marketing companies that, sell their crap. Okay, I was hoping that we would get results from these, so we might just watch this for a few minutes. Actually, I wonder if I change workspaces now, will it be an issue? I don't really want to do that. I wanted to switch to the game plan workspace, but I'll tell you what, while this is in play, okay, we're going to look at the game plan. So the game plan has been set up for the week ahead. So there's a little video here telling you how to activate the game plan, and it tells you in there what it is. So we've got 4 templates for this week. You'll see they're listed over there. So this is 100% automated, and they're going to trade. The one's going to trade from 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. and the other 3 are going to trade from 9:35 till 11:20, 11:45. So they're very short periods of time. We've got screenshots in there with regards to, what the chart looks like when it's been loaded. The templates are all there within the folder. You can look at your historical results. you'll see they're quite conservative templates, because what I've done is I've chosen templates that have got slightly fewer trades, higher accuracy. And because we've only got 2 weeks of data, we're being a little bit, a little bit careful on that. And then we've also got Adam that shared a nice template in the chat yesterday. So I used that as one of the game plan templates. So thank you for sharing that, Adam, because that's in there. So now you're able to, just go load up these templates and activate them on your trading chart. And this is what it looks like when they're all loaded. I mean, you guys are very familiar with this, but for new guys, this is such a turnkey solution where you load up a workspace, you load up the strategies, you activate the templates, you load the templates, and that's it. They're done. They're ready to start trading for the next session. So let's see where we are. Okay, so yeah, we are at, we've had one of our trades hit a profit target. Okay, so you can see these volume breakout levels, how they serve as support and resistance. Now, on your signal chart, you might want to go to your data series and say, you know what, I don't want to see text and markers on here, because this is only for judging, how I want positions to enter, right? You only want to have text and markers over here. Or you might say, you know what, I don't want to have text and markers here. I just want to have markers, because I'm happy just to see. I want a clean chart. I just want to see where the trades are entering and where they're exiting. Very, very simple. Another thing that I've done with the strategies is I've made the results, like the profit, the loss, update on every single position that updates. So whenever a position closes, it's going to immediately update the realized and unrealized net profit on the chart, or the realized net profit. It's going to update it over here. And also, so the baseline wick trader is the exact same thing. We've got that in place over there. Okay, so yeah, we've got a bit of an up thing. So we're up down 100 at the moment. Okay, so we're constantly looking at this. Okay, so we are at this level now. So then you decide, okay, so should we be pausing the strategy over here? Should we be waiting for what's happening on the market? Remember, we've got the option anytime to pause the strategy. So we can say, you know what, we don't want to enter. First of all, we're not going to enter any more positions because we're already in the 7. Okay, but we can say, you know what, are we prepared to exit the positions over here based on what's happening on the signal chart? Are we going to just wait a little bit to see what happens with the next price movement? But all of that is basically, because you've got your signal charts that are telling you what price is doing, you can act on them accordingly. All right, so that is that. And as every single trade that enters is going to have its individual stop and target, exactly how it is, positioned in there, and any additional entries that you have entering. So you can say, you know what, I want to increase my target a little bit. So I want to have it like 35 ticks, and I'm prepared to have a slightly larger stop on this, and you can increase your your entries. And then what will happen is all those new entries that enter, will have that updated stop ticks and target ticks. So this one here now is going to have 35 as a target, and it's going to have 146 as a stop. So yeah, this is basically like a scalping for a sideways moving market. And then, like I said, at any time you can say, you know what, I am looking at my signal chart, and it might be this signal chart, or you might have, you might be looking at another signal chart, even the, what's the one, the show me the money signal chart. So going over here, templates, load, you've also got the show me the money. So this specific one over here is going to give you your Fibonacci levels. So having your Fibonacci levels in play, and as you can see, we've got no Fibonacci levels ahead. So basically this strategy, except for this 1 hour, 38.2. But long ago, we've actually had a switch over of price. So this is why it's good to look at various different signal charts, because you don't want to be caught in a situation where the price just runs away from you and exit. And remember, you could pause your strategy and they're going to exit. Okay, so there we ended up in a loss. Okay, so we could definitely have stopped that earlier, because as soon as the price had broken through our trend following, we are looking at, acting on that. And now we could say, you know what, because the price is now above the trend following, now I'm prepared to go long only, and I'm going to start this strategy again. So only now when this price retraces and it's below the open. So remember, it's got to be below the open of the candle for it to take long trades. So, right now we're looking at this. Okay, we're at a 38.2. We've broken through. Is this going to be bouncing down from here or up? So, we constantly have the option to be choosing our direction. And you might say, you know what, I'm looking at this right now, so yeah, I'm happy to enter short positions again, because we are looking at the show me the money. We've had a break off the 38.2. We had multiple different Fibonacci levels in play there. So looking at that chart is going to give us, so the two main charts to look at is the take it and run chart, which is going to give you your volume breakout markers. It's going to give you your smoothing average, but your show me the money chart is the one that's giving you all your Fibonacci levels as well. So look out for both of those signal charts. So just having the two of them like this, and determine, okay, well, when do I want to stop, and acting on those. And it might take a bit of time to fully understand this, and just prepare yourself for the session. Don't just randomly start a strategy and hope for the best. Like, actually plan your trading. So, looking at the signal charts, and then looking at where price is in relation to those signal charts, what it is doing. And, if anything looks out of whack for you, you just press pause. It's like, okay, I'm just going to wait until I get a good signal, and a good signal will be breaking through certain support levels or staying below certain support levels. So that's how we can address this. Okay, so workspace. So if I go to my workspace and I go to game plan trading week ahead, so this is obviously the one with the automated strategies, right? So very quickly we'll do this. So we'll go into the workspace like we did. We'll wait for the charts to load. Yeah, and you were trading on that chart earlier where you had, so all your positions would have hit their targets, right? This is why I don't trade on minute bars, because I know the flat baseline, the price is often going to return to it, which is what happened there. So, so what we do is we go to our strategies, we activate our baseline wick trader, we go template, load, and there's our templates. Okay. I've got other ones in here that shouldn't be here. They should only be like the 5 January ones. So all the ones that are 5 January. So there's template 1, template 2, template 3, and template 4. So those are the 4 templates that we load on each of these individual charts. And then that's set up for the day ahead. So pretty much sorted from there. Okay. I'll switch back to this chart to see what this one's looking like. But like we did earlier, we were trading on that 369.1. So this is why I love the DTB bars trending baseline charts, because we have a very specific so we had those were the wicks, you see. So the price returned to the baseline. So those trades earlier, that were entered by you there, Greybeard, we've got them returning to the baseline. So, you know, the price is either going to return to the baseline or it's going to go and reach a new baseline. That's all it can basically do. Nothing else it can do. So, you know, even activating a strategy based on that, high probability of success, but then looking at the signal charts as your confirmation. Cool. So yeah, so we did have some losing entries there, but as you can see, the signal charts did change. I mean, we just happened to activate the strategy at a time where the signal changed, and that's just what happens. You know, you do this for a few hours, you are going to recover any losses that you may have initially had, but looking at confluence between different signal charts will give you more of an overall look. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for jumping on the call. And that is it from me. We'll see you guys next week, same place, same time. Continue posting your results in the chat. That'll be awesome for the group results. And then we'll go from there. Okay, guys, have a fantastic week. And all the best in the US this week. I know it's a massive thing ahead. Okay, guys, cheers.